Hello everybody, it's great to be here with you live and be able to ask or answer some of the many questions that are being brought up lately about my message and who I am. So the first question was, how did I get my name and what does that mean? I guess the first thing to say would be that I had no idea that I was little grandmother until I was 30. Growing up having a Native American mother, I attended several powwows, several meetings with the grandfathers, things like this. As a young child, I remember one instance in which I was sitting with my family of the Sioux tribe, and of course, being the little blonde white girl mixed in with all of my Native American family made me feel a little out of place, but at the same time I was completely intrigued by it. And I was quite young, I would say about 8 years old, when we sat and watched a very particular sacred ceremony that the grandfathers were doing, and the elders of the tribe, and they stopped. They stood up and they came and picked me up out of the crowd and set me down and gave me a blessing. I had no idea what was happening at the time. Everything was spoken in Lakota, which I didn't understand very much about. Thinking back, I can remember little things like that happening, but it was kept very quiet until I was 30 years old, and I got a phone call saying that the indigenous tribes have been watching me grow up since I was a little girl, knowing that I would be the fair-haired child they would call little grandmother. So they knew and I didn't. It was pretty interesting to find out, getting that phone call, having them tell me that they knew that the grandmother's past had been teaching me, which indeed was happening. As a little girl, I didn't know where these voices were coming from. They always addressed me as child, and then they would teach me very, very specific lessons about the planet, about each other, about how to love in a bigger way, or how to respect nature, these sorts of lessons. And I had been receiving those since about 8 years old. And so to receive that phone call at 30 and them to say that we know you've been being taught by the other side, and that made me feel pretty good, because then I wasn't crazy. Somebody else knew what I was going through. They also brought up the fact that there was 11 other human beings on this planet who were receiving the same lessons since they were children, and we are called the Wisdom Keepers. And so we shared this, and so it was fantastic to find out there was people like me. But at age 30, I was called to be the shaman for the Sioux and Salish tribes, and to start my own tribe, which would be called the Tribe of Many Colors, for the planet, for the globe, for all of us to join as one. The Tribe of Many Colors would represent all of us, one heart, with one mother, one message, one tribe. So in becoming a shaman, that's not a very easy task. I am not one of these people who went to school to learn how to be a shaman. It's something that I've been initiated into since a very, very young age, and then at age 30 I accepted the calling, and we went through the rituals in which I became the shaman. A lot of fasting, a lot of prayer, a lot of offerings. And so to answer your question, where did I get the name Little Grandmother? After knowing all of these different indigenous tribes and cultures, they've said they've been waiting for me for a few hundred years, for the fair-haired child to come who would be called Little Grandmother. I received my sacred bundles, in which some of these things, the staffs, some of my medicine, are hundreds of years old. They were made hundreds of years ago for me and have been kept for this time. And so as soon as I did become little grandmother, the shaman, the wisdom keeper, medicine started coming to me from all over the planet, Australia, the different tribes of North America, Europe, the indigenous people from the north. So they knew I was coming before I did, and I just had to step into this and try to honor it and do the very, very best I can, which I'm still trying very hard, not to let anybody down. Before revealing some of the prophecies for this year, 2010, please tell us if you see any major things happening in the year 2012 and how human beings can prepare best for the coming changes. Are the major light waves coming from the sun? Well, those are some big questions. 2012, you know, everybody has something to say about that, it seems like, and there's all these books on 2012 and everybody talking about how the world's going to change and how the world's going to end. But please realize, only until a couple of months ago did our beloved grandfather Alejandro, Don Alejandro, is the grandfather of all of the Mayan people. He's the grandfather and the keeper of all of this wisdom from the Mayans. He has only spoke out in the last couple of months. Please realize that all of these books that are out there about 2012 are not from the Mayan people. These are books from different authors around the world and their ideas. But only a couple months ago has Grandfather Alejandro and his people been talking about what's going to happen. And so, really, all of this is speculation. What Grandfather Alejandro is really saying is, yes, our world is going to change. The world as we know it is going to end. But that's not a scary thing. It's something to be rejoicing about, that this way of being in our mind all of the time, for thousands of years now, we have joined organized religion, we have gone to war and become power hungry, and we've been fighting for everything that we want. Don Alejandro and the Mayan people have always stayed in the heart from the very beginning. They are the ancestors of Atlantis. They are the most ancient people on our planet right now, and this whole time they have stayed in the heart. They know how to live their life from their feelings and from their emotions and making decisions from the heart. And now they're bringing that message back to us and saying, we must change the way we're acting, or we are going to kill our Mother Earth, and we are going to kill each other. We must go back and start living from the heart. Now, if you can think for a moment, if unified consciousness joins that heart consciousness, and we stop being a people living from our brains all the time, power, greed, and start living from our hearts and really loving one another, it is going to change our planet. We will be living in a new way. And so, yes, the end of the world as we know it. This doesn't mean everything is going to be destroyed. Of course, there's going to be, as Mother Earth shifts and turns, and we all know that the Mayans have been telling us for centuries that the poles are going to shift. That's an actual fact. It is happening right now. Due north is not due north anymore. For the first time on our planet's history, migrating birds are getting lost. Due north is not north anymore. The serpent of light and life is on the move. Mother Earth's energies are literally shifting. And when the big shift happens, which I believe as a unified whole, the wisdom keepers and the grandfathers are saying, yes, Mother Earth is going to shift. Things are going to move, and yes, this will change our landscape a bit. But we're all going to go through an enormous change. It doesn't mean a ton of suffering. It doesn't mean war in our streets. What's going to change is the energy on our planet, the energy within us. Our consciousness will rise. We will be more intuitive and more loving. And so, yes, our world is going to change dramatically. And yes, there's going to be some planetary shifts. But when when in our lives have we not dealt with planetary shifts already? And so I ask the viewers to take a deep breath. Do not give your energy to worrying about what could happen. Instead, give your energy to knowing that we live in such a miraculous time on our planet in which we get to see our planet become her own heaven. And we get to see all of us unify in a heart consciousness, raise our awareness, and use our minds and our hearts and our consciousness to create a better world. You expect many things to be revealed already this year, 2010. What are the most important ones? Well, everybody asks this question. Of course, we're human beings and we always want to know what's going to happen. First and foremost, what I would like to say is we, the human beings, every single one of us have free will and choice. And because we have free will and choice, the outcome of tomorrow can always change. But as a collective whole, we the wisdom keepers, the grandfathers, the elders, we see many great possibilities for 2010. We see things happening in discoveries, medical discoveries, in which we can help heal the masses. We can extend and prolong life without suffering. The elderly, their bones getting stronger. New technologies will come forth in which we can remain healthier and stronger and happier people. That being said, I also know for a fact, because I can see these things, new energies are coming to our planet. New, beautiful, miraculous energies coming from the great everything down to our planet. The trees vibrate more. The earth herself vibrates more. There are new energies coming. They are pouring down upon us. And they started, I noticed them starting right around last year with the Return of the Ancestors gathering. We are also placing new, very powerful, very sacred crystals into the ground to rebuild and strengthen the ley lines that already exist in Mother Earth, but to also give her new, powerful ley lines as she shifts to be strong and healthy. And of course, when our mother is strong and healthy, we are strong and healthy. There's a lot going to happen this year. Truths are going to come out. Ancient truths that have been hidden from us, the common people, are going to start coming out, because as consciousness rises, lies and ugliness cannot stay. They will have to break apart, and these truths will come out and be known to the public. So in 2010, it's an exciting year. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for the changes. I'm excited that power, religion, and big money are going to start to crack. And when those start to crack, truths come out, and we will realize that we've been misled by a lot. And when you are shaken, when your foundation is shaken, and when everything you thought you were following was truth, then you have to question yourself, what is true for me? What is true for my life here? And that's where I would ask each and every one of you to ask yourselves, because religion is man-made, what makes you whole? What makes you happy? What connects you to the great everything out there? I say to you now, you are the great I am. You are the creator. I am the creator. You have every potential and every right. It is your birthright to create the world you wish to live in. And it is being asked of us, the strongest of the strong who are living on the planet now, to create another world, to remember who we are, to remember our hearts, to remember that through loving each other, we can truly create a new world around us. Can you tell us more about this project of placing crystals, and perhaps also what is your connection to the crystals and where they are placed? That's a good question. Well, these crystals are very old and have been kept very safe by different indigenous tribes, knowing that there would become a time on our planet when these crystals would be put to work, knowing that these powerful crystals who have been prayed over and kept sacred for hundreds of years would then be called upon to go inside the earth before her great change. And these crystals have been gifted to me as a wisdom keeper to begin being placed into their sacred homes. Each one of these crystals have a very, very specific place to go, and are very specifically blessed, prayed over, and watched over carefully by many. They are not placed in the earth haphazardly. Not at all. I get specific direction in where they should go, not just in which continent, but exactly where to go, where these specific ley lines will need to connect into one another. And so these crystals are not just taken outside and put in the earth, but there is sacred ceremony around it. There are many prayers, many honoring Mother Earth and thanking her for her life and the life that she gives us. These crystals are sacred, and they are sacred to me, and I can feel the energy and the power within them. And so before placing a crystal into the specific area of where it needs to go, there is sacred ceremony done. We honor Mother Gechimundo in Tokoshila, Great Spirit, Great Father, and we honor the ancestors who have came before us, the wisdom keepers who have came before those of us who are on the planet now, who taught about this day that was going to come when everything would change and the people of this planet would remember who they were and start living from the heart again. And now, those of us wisdom keepers who are on the planet right now, we are so excited and so thrilled. We're here now, and we get to watch these ancient prophecies be brought to life, and we get to take part in this. And so it's a great honor for me to be able to work with these crystals, place them into the ground for the healing and the regeneration of our Mother Earth, and for all of us, the children of Mother Earth. Where they are placed. Well, I can tell you where I've placed them before, but I cannot tell you where they're going to be until it is time. There's been one placed here in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Santa Fe, New Mexico is a desert, but it's told to us that it is a place that will grow green again. And Santa Fe truly is a very special place. The energy in the ground here even vibrates differently from other places that I've been. It was told to me by my elders, by my guides, by the other side, exactly where to place this crystal. And the first crystal was placed during the Return of the Ancestors gathering of last year about this time. And so through great ceremony, 3 days of very, very intense ceremony and giving a lot of thanks to our Mother, at the end of that ceremony, that crystal was placed within the earth. There has also been placed a crystal in a place that is very, very special to me. It's the place that I used to run to. It's the place that I grew up alone in the wilderness. It's the place where I grew and developed a very, very deep and enriching relationship with my Mother Earth. It's where my gifts were given to me, in Colorado, in a very, very beautiful sacred place where 7 different Native American tribes used to gather inside this beautiful valley. They used to gather there in the summer to give thanks to Mother Earth and do sacred ceremony. And I was asked to bring that sacredness back to the land, and so we opened it with a beautiful ceremony and also placed a crystal there deep within the earth. Just a few weeks ago, I've just arrived home from California, where we went to some of the oldest, most beautiful redwood trees that are there, and these redwood trees are called our sacred grand elders. These trees really do have a spirit. They are ancient wisdom there, and I was instructed to go to the redwoods and there with a dear friend who is the crystal's keeper and caretaker, and with all of the help from the other side, and the grandfathers and grandmothers and dear Mother Earth and grandfathers, we were able to place a crystal deep within the redwoods, and to bring the healthy energy, the strength back to Turtle Island, North America, on the west coast. I am preparing now to go to Maui, which the next crystal will be placed there. Again, I only place the crystal where I am told specifically. So there are very specific places for crystals to go. We honor those places, and with sacred ceremony, then they go within the earth. What role do the crystal skulls play? That's a big question. I don't know how much you would like me to go into the crystal skulls. The crystal skulls are very, very sacred, because there are literal spirits inside these crystals. Men and women who are raised by indigenous cultures, being taught all of the wisdom from their tribe, and from the beginning of that tribe's time, everything that could be taught was taught to these people as they grew from childhood into adulthood. And then their life was taken very willingly so that their spirit could go inside of these skulls, with all of their knowing, with sacred truths, with all of their wisdom. And these skulls are to be brought together at the end of days, before the world changes into her beautiful self. And those spirits will come forth from the crystals and teach us those ancient truths again. Exactly how that's going to happen, I can't say that I know for fact. But I do know, I've seen a couple of the skulls myself. They are so powerful. And there really are beings, souls within these crystals that have so much wisdom and so much teaching. And when they are brought together, the whole world will learn from their wisdom. How many are there on the earth now? I believe, I don't want to say too much, because this is not something I've been asked to talk about, but they are being brought together. And for a long time there have only been a certain amount, but I do believe they're coming together, and the missing crystal skulls are coming forward, and they're going to be a big happy family very soon. What are the true roles of the pyramids on Earth? Well, I can say what I know, but there is much I do not know, so I won't pretend to know the answer to this question. I know, because of what I've been shown as a wisdom keeper, that there are some things with the pyramids that are very, very intense, that is not known to the public. I know that there is a lot of very intense and very important information buried in Egypt under the Sphinx. I know for a fact that the Sphinx is much, much older than what scientists are letting on. It's older than the Egyptian people. And underneath the Sphinx, which I believe fully that has already been discovered by scientists but not being let out to the public, there is a vast library under there with so much information, ancient truths and ancient knowledge from the people of Atlantis, to the knowing of the star people and how they have helped us in the past. What I also know to be true, because I've seen it myself, so I can answer this, is that the pyramids also have, they are triplet. The pattern of these pyramids that are laid out in specific angles and specific degrees match perfectly in South America in some of those pyramids and temples down there. They are literally the exact same angles to the stars, to a group of stars that are in our sky. And I don't know how much this is public, but I do know it will become public. There are also its triplet sisters on our moon. The exact same pyramids, its triplet is on the moon. They are there. There are pyramids exactly the same. And they are also lined up to within 1 degree, built exactly the same, in the same manner, laid out in a pattern that matches a star system within our sky. What are the true roles of the pyramids on Earth? So to answer that question in full, I can't tell you what the real role is of those pyramids, but I can tell you we had help making them. Some of the things in South America and in Egypt are older than the people themselves, and there's technology and knowledge there that is older than many of us once thought. Do you also have connection to the angel world or the ETs? Well, I don't like the word ETs because that sounds something very separate from us. I do have a connection with the other side. All the wisdom keepers do. Many people on our planet right now do, because we are the strongest of the strong, and we have the ability to see through that veil, and the veil is getting very thin. I have experienced speaking with the other side quite often. In my work being a shaman now, it happens more often than not. As a child, I was taught by spirits, by beings who were not in the flesh, by beings who look a lot like us, but are made of light, I guess is the best way I can describe it. So ETs, I don't really talk about ETs as little green funny men, but yes, there are star beings. Yes, there are our brothers and sisters out there who love us so very much, and love us almost as a parent loves a child. In fact, I was told to think about how much I loved my children, and then to think for a moment that they might love us 1,000 times, 1,000 times that much. That's how much they love us, and that's how much they want us to succeed and remember who we are and be gentle with one another and kind with one another. They want us to remember that this planet is sacred. She is our living Mother Earth, that she is so very beloved and sacred to many, and we, human beings, are vastly important and vastly blessed because we are the ones who are here in a body on this planet. They want us to remember how special we are and how talented we are, and how if we can just remember, if we could just remember how powerful we are, we can change and create heaven on earth. We can use our abilities. We are the creator. Our mother is Goddess, and our Father is God. We are the children of Goddess and God, so we too are Goddess and God. If we could just remember this, and with our emotions and with our feeling, draw in what we want to experience in life, we can create something so beautiful. If we could just combine our hearts and stop living from the place of, I will take care of me and you go take care of you. If we could just join together and love one another and take care of one another and love this beautiful planet Earth as our sacred mother, we can change our reality so much. Can you imagine for just a moment if we were to combine our hearts and our higher selves, what we could create? Technology would skyrocket. Invention would skyrocket. We could live from such a higher place and create such a world. And I am in fact very anxious and happy and wanting the change to come. I am excited for it. How can the crystal or indigo children help us in the world today? That's a really important question, because I've said this before on several other interviews. The children who are coming to our planet now, if there is anyone who is the elite of the strongest of the strong, it is the children being born on our planet today, and those of us who are here now. The parents of these children are actually the most amazing, because we literally have to go from thinking and being in the world that is today into knowing that something must change, into knowing that we must provide something else for our children, because these children who are coming are of a higher energy. They are literally gifted in ways that children before them have never been. And so yes, we are dealing with very, very special children who can see, who can hear, who are very close to the other side. And as those parents, we must be so strong, and we must remember that we can make a difference. And that's why all of us feel so strongly right now, something's got to change. There's got to be more to life, and it's because we are starting to be shaken up. We're starting to remember there has to be more than this. We have to remember our hearts. We have to be the ones to bring about the change, so that these beautiful indigo children, these beautiful blessed beings, can then live the change. But they cannot live the change and be the change until we change it. We are that stepping stone. We're the in-between generation who has to say, no more. I refuse to live this way of power and greed, the unstable masculine. I refuse to live this way, and change it. So we must do this, not only for ourselves, but this beautiful generation that is being raised on our planet now, who will be the change, who will lead us in a whole new way of being. You are a child of nature. How do you experience nature, and what aspects are important to you? This is a great question. I am a child of nature. Growing up, I spent as much time as possible outside. I spent a lot of time outside alone. And I started learning things at a very young age. At first, I thought it was totally normal. Then coming back into town after spending a couple weeks outside, I learned what I was seeing and what I was hearing and what I was tasting was not what the other kids were feeling, tasting, and hearing. But I learned outside after being blessed by a very beautiful spirit who came and sat with me. I woke up the next morning to a new world, and I could literally see dots, is what I used to call them, my dots. But there was color in everything, moving, vibrant color, little specks. The best way I could describe it is if it's raining or snowing outside and the light hits and reflects off of all those snowflakes, that kind of shimmering that you see. I see this within everything that is alive. From the smallest blade of grass to the elk or the deer or the trees, everything is alive, and everything has a spirit, and everything has this energy within it. Something else very fascinating started happening. It's very normal to me, and I'll try to describe it. Some people call it being a savant, but I just know it as this is how I am, this is how I work. I do speak to animals. I can sense things that are alive or that are present in the room. If you shut the lights off and three of you go stand in different corners, I can still tell you who is where, because I can see the energy. I can taste you, I can smell you. There's a vibration, there's a sound, there's a texture. Everything happens at once. And so this is very true with nature, very true with the animals, which animals and trees to me are my family. I love them so very much, and I considered them my family while growing up, and I still do. I love them deeply. And each one of these things, whether it be a pine tree versus a a flower. Everything has, to me, everything has a taste, a texture, a sound, a vibration. It's all of these things, a color. And so if I am driving down the road, I will get a sense that something is near the road. I pay attention to that taste, texture, color, sound, and I can know, is this a deer, or is this an antelope, or is this a rabbit? All of these senses will tell me what it is, what sex it is, how far off it is, and I can feel the emotion of animals. And so, yes, I am definitely a child of nature and the wild, and I love it deeply, and I have some sort of knowing that is just inside of me. It's just my world. Which is my favorite animal? Oh, that's a loaded question. That's a tough one. I love all animals deeply, and so that's a tough question, but there's an animal that is very, very special to my own heart, and that's the great horned owl. I have had a great horned owl in my life since I was very, very young, say 4 or 5 years old. Right across from the house I grew up in, there was a family of great horned owls. Now, these owls mate for life. They came every year into the big pine trees across from my house, and they allow me to get very, very close and talk to them and sing to them and just listen to them hoot, and I would just stay there in my tree and listen. And when things got hard for me in my life, and there was some abuse happening and trauma where I would run to the wilderness, that beautiful owl, my owl, I call him mine, would fly with me and go out to the river where I stayed. And he would stay with me out there until I came home. In a couple of instances, he actually brought me food. He would bring me fish. He would bring me rodents. He would bring me food and leave it there next to me. And when I went home, he would fly back home with me. And one day in particular, I went outside to feed the horses. And I heard a large swooshing noise, and I turned around, and he hit me right in the chest. And I held him, my dear beloved friend. I held him close to my chest, and I felt his last 3 heartbeats. As a little girl, I was mortified that my friend had just died. And when I went to allow him to fall back off my chest and look at him, I realized that his talon had stuck in my chest. This talon did pierce the skin over my heart, and I carry the scar with me still today, and I wear his talon around my neck in all ceremonies. So he passed on, but his spirit is so very much with me, and his offspring still live in the tree across the road in the pine trees, and they have offspring now who are very close to me as well. We know each other well, and so the great horned owl is something that is very, very powerful to me and very close to my heart. The other 2 animals that I admire and stand in awe of are the whales and the elephants. These 2 animals, literally, the land animal, the elephant, and the sea creature, the whales, literally have a higher vibration, a higher energy than any other living creature, including ourselves. These animals come from something higher, something wiser, and although I cannot tell you exactly what that is, I do know for a fact these 2 animals, the whale and the elephant, have a higher vibration, a higher energy, a higher source than even the human beings. So that's my favorite. Can you show it to the camera what you have around your neck? Well, I can show you my medicine pouch. This was given to me when I became a shaman. I carry it with me. I don't do ceremony without it. And inside this pouch are my sacred things, things that are very, very personal and close to my heart, things that can fit in the pouch from sacred ceremony that were given to me by my elders, by the council. I carry things that are special to me are not jewelry or things of this manner. I have bark in here from a sacred, beautiful tree that I used to sleep under. That is dear to me. I have a feather in here from my beautiful owl. I have things from sacred sites, sacred ceremonies that are always with me, that are blessed, that I keep very close to my heart. This is my medicine pouch, my shaman's pouch, and so this is it. Do I know anything about my past lives? I know a little, but and that's a question I get often about past lives. I believe, well, I know that this is my last time here living on this planet. I've been several times before. This is my last go around before moving on to something higher. And I came here specifically to help teach the children of this planet to remember who they are. As far as past lives go, I believe that, and this is my personal opinion, this is not a teaching from a wisdom keeper, this is my personal opinion, that if I was supposed to remember my past lives, I would remember them. And I don't. I've had glimpses. My window opens up and I'll have glimpses of different things that I've done in the past, who I was in the past. But if I was supposed to remember those lives fully, I would. But we come here, and I think this is part of the beauty of being a human being. We come here not remembering everything. And this is where the gold is, this is where the juice is, because if you can come here to this beautiful planet and remember who you are, and remember what you stand for, and remember your great I am, and remember God and Goddess, that is so triumphant, that is so beautiful, that is so gorgeous. Against all odds, we remembered who we were. We remembered that soul inside of us, that important divine quality in us that is God and Goddess. And throughout all the ups and downs, through all the decisions we have to make every single day, for us to remember our higher selves and know that we are connected to everything out there, to pass that test, to me, is glorious, is fantastic. And so, whether I remember my past lives or not, it doesn't really matter. What I know is that I chose to come here after being asked to come to this planet, and I said yes. And I gained a body, and I'm here on this beautiful sacred mother. So many spirits do not get to come, but we were invited, and I'm here, and I have a chance to speak from my heart and my soul. I am only one, but I am one, and I will do my very best to make a difference. I will do my very best to remember who I am, and to teach what I came here to teach, that our Mother Earth is sacred, that she is a divine being, and I love her very, very much. And no matter how hard it gets, I am just one person, and it is overwhelming to be in charge of tribes, the tribe of many colors, to be in charge of speaking to the world. Sometimes it does get overwhelming, but I'm here. I said yes and I came. And I know with every fiber of my being how important this message is. To get everyone to remember, you are the great I am. You are your own creator. You can change this planet. You can change who you are. You can make a difference. You can save the animals that are being slaughtered. You can give love to a stranger. We can love the homeless and the drunk just as much as we love our parents. They too are us. Without any judgment, we can give love to everyone. We can give blessings to everyone. We can live from our hearts. This is why I came. No matter how hard it gets, I will devote my life to giving this message. That we must remember our Mother Earth. We must remember that she's sacred. We must remember that we are sacred and we are our own divine creators. And that we're brothers and sisters, and there is nothing dividing us. No longer can we be divided by a religion, by race, by a government. You are my brothers and sisters no matter where you live, and you are mine. And I love you. We can love each other. We are each other. So, this is why I came. And I will do my very best to honor my calling. Do you regularly meditate on how do you meditate? Yes, I meditate quite often. I lie down to meditate. Actually, it works very best for me. To sit up, I notice that my energy gets blocked. If I cross my legs or my arms, my energy blocks. So for me, lying down works the very best. And there's no one way to meditate. Whatever makes you feel the best, whatever makes you most comfortable. I lie down, and something does happen. I don't know how much to go into this. It's something that happens for the wisdom keepers, in which it feels like a great expansion. It's a very black place. There's no sound, there's no light, there's no color, and yet my whole body, my whole spirit feels enormous. It expands to encompass the universe. I don't know how to explain it other than I become the universe. And in this state, I try not to think about anything. I just be the space. And then what needs to come through does come through in very specific and poignant ways. This is how I am taught what to talk about, what to say as a wisdom keeper, what's being asked of me as a human being to speak about. So I meditate often. I must stay connected very closely to my Mother Earth and to the great everything, great Tonkashila, Father, the ancestors on the other side, my ancestors, my spirit guides. So yes, I meditate often, and I say my prayers to the other side without fail every day. Questions from the chat. Please ask Kiesha her advice on how do we navigate being in the world, understanding how to manifest peace and love, but keep running into others that do not know how to do that, yet as in being in the world but not of it. That's a great question. Because we all have free will and choice, we will always experience things that are wrong. Even if you are coming from the very best place, I experience it on a daily level. Even I make the mistake. Even I will be the one to say something that is not right. But this is part of being a human being too. If we were truly expected to be perfect, we wouldn't have came here. This is an experience. We are experiencing being a human being, and every single one of us makes mistakes. Every single one of us have wounds. I have deep wounds. I'm still working on that. And knowing that every one of us has a wound, instead of judging someone that is coming from an angry place, say you're on the street and someone yells at you because you were in the crosswalk, or you honks your horn because you didn't see the green light, and they flip you off and they scream some profanities, instead of becoming angry that that person just put that out there and you went from a very high place to a negative place, instead of doing that, instead of giving that energy, understand that he too or she too is struggling. Everyone is being approached by difficulties every day. And so that person has experienced some struggles too. But it's not our place to judge them. And it's not our place to react to that either. Give them a blessing. In your own words, as they drive away, just say, I pray that your day gets better. But the moment you react to his or her ugly words, you become that energy too. So yes, there's a lot of negative out there. As soon as you turn on the television, it's negative. As soon as you can listen to other people's conversations, it's negative. But what you can say is, I choose to change the channel. It doesn't mean you have to ignore the news that's happening in the world. We should keep up on the news. We should pray for people. We should help where we can. But it doesn't mean we have to sit and give all of our energy to death and destruction, to a rape that was just announced on TV, to someone angry and spewing negative things. Even those people who are trying to fight for the peace, that's wrong too. There's no reason to fight anymore. We are simply supposed to be the change. So yes, it's very difficult to live in this world. Everyone is trying their best with the circumstances they have. And some people have not realized that by shutting off the negative and just staying in the heart, they can be a happier person. But that is their life to figure out. We can do our part. We can give them a blessing. We can speak kindly, and then we move on, instead of indulging in the negative. And we all have wounds. Every one of us. We cannot judge the homeless drunk on the street, just like we cannot judge our neighbor who is a stay-at-home mom. We are each having our own experience. And who knows what that person has suffered that's on the street? Could we possibly judge him for needing a drink of alcohol? We can't. We don't know what his life has given him. We don't know what's going on in his world, but we can give him a blessing. It reminds me of something very poignant in my favorite movie, and many of you might know this movie, Fried Green Tomatoes. There is a moment when Old Smokey walks into the restaurant. He is homeless, his clothes are dirty, he's shaking because he needs whiskey, he's a drunk, and Iggy welcomes him in with a smile and sets him down to give him a meal. And his hands are shaking so bad that he's kind of making a scene in the restaurant, and he can't eat his food. Instead of kicking him out and saying you're a disgrace or you're an embarrassment, what does she do but put her arms around this man, walk him outside and tell him a beautiful story, hand him that shot of whiskey that he needs to calm himself down, tell him a story to make him smile. She didn't judge him. She put her arm around him and said something beautiful. This is my wish, that we could all do this, that we see all of our brothers and sisters as beautiful beings, no matter what circumstance they are in, whether they are the ones screaming profanities at us or they are quietly in the corner. Let us see them as our real brothers and sisters. Let us love them. Let us help them. And so, yes, there's negative in the world. We can't help that, but we can help how we react to it. If it's nonsense, just blatant rudeness, or blatant things on the radio that make us feel bad, change the channel. Say something good to switch the energy into something lovely, then change the channel. If we put garbage in our body, we are going to be weak and not at our optimum energy. But there's a technique that it can actually happen, and this has been being taught to me over the last year because it's so precise and so important. Instead of taking energy from people, the last several hundred years we are motivated by prestige. Who knows our name? Who can give us, make us feel good about ourselves? How it's all about prestige and honor, and we wanting to look good in front of others. This is a mishap, and this is something that we should have never ever done. It is none of my business what people think about me. Think about that for a moment. It is none of your business what other people think about you. So instead of taking energy from others, and the ways we do that are dominating a conversation, wanting to be the loudest in the room, arguing with others, we are trying to take energy from others. Instead of living from where we take energy from others, there is a system that's already been in place, always been in place, but we have forgotten about it. All we have to do is go outside. We literally can breathe in energy from the plants, whether it's the grass, a tree, a mountain, the snow, the water. There is enough energy outside in the living planet for every single one of us to be filled to the brim. So we must exchange and stop doing what we've been doing, where we take energy from others and we suck energy away from others to fill ourselves up. We need to go outside, breathe in the energy from the trees. Literally, breathe it in. Know that Mother Earth is keeping you alive. She gives you everything. Every bit of food, every bit of water, every breath. We cannot live without our Mother. She is sacred. She is divine. Let's breathe her in. Now that we know that we can breathe energy in from outdoors, our planet, and we can give energy back, we can breathe it in and on the exhale give energy and love to the planet. Now that we remember that this is possible, not only possible, but this is what we should have been doing the whole time, now we know we can actually give energy to our food. Those of you who plant a garden, plant it with love. Pray for your plants to grow strong and healthy and full of nutrition, and that Mother Earth gives it all this fine energy. Even if you didn't grow it yourself, when you bring it home, you cook it and you sit down to eat. Remember what you're praying for. Religion taught us to pray to give thanks to Heavenly Father. What about giving thanks to your mother for the food that is on your plate? She gave it to you. Without her, we would not eat. And so we need to thank the very source of the food. Thank the food that you're about to eat. Bless it with full of vibrant energy. So whether it's a potato, a carrot, or salmon, or roast beef, be grateful for the food that's provided for you. Pray for your food to be strong and healthy. Pray for the plants that are growing in the earth. And then when you take that in, you're even getting more energy than before. So it's very important for our energy light fields. It's very important for our human body. It's very important for our spirit. How do you see new kinds of communities developing? This is all actually in the works, and it's something that I talk about on the video, I believe, the 2010 video. In the year 2010, we will see new developing communities in which people will stop crowding the city so much, and communities will start to begin. People with the same interests, people who want to go green, who want to eat healthy, who want to have a garden. Communities will start sprouting up, and you can look around wherever you live for other people that are the same mind and heart as you, where one of you can have a large garden, or the community can have a large garden, in which everyone helps take care of this garden and everyone benefits from this natural, beautiful, organic garden. Someone can have a milk cow, and then you divide that fresh milk amongst the people. There are communities sprouting all over. In fact, for here in Santa Fe, I know for a fact there are these communities in which you put so much work into the garden and you get so many vegetables. Someone has the milk. Someone also is canning, preserving foods. Communities, let's open our eyes and see how we can support these communities. If there's a carton of eggs from a community who is helping and doing things the right way, versus the carton of eggs who came from a huge plant who are abusing their chickens, let's make the conscious right decision. Let's support where we can support. And let's start joining these communities in which if there's a farmer with several acres dedicated to growing crops and vegetables for the people, let's support him. Let's buy his vegetables. Instead of giving money to big corporations, big power, let's help the little guy. And let's start joining together our hearts and supporting one another. This is how I'm seeing already little communities start to develop all over the planet. You can find this in almost any city now. Find who has the milk cow, fresh milk. Find who has the goats, the fresh chickens, the fresh eggs. Find the place that is growing the fresh vegetables. Help out and get your share of vegetables and do your share in your part in having a growing green again, sustaining a group of people who are on the right track. Let's do all we can to help those who are trying to help Mother Earth. They need our support. It's hard to be an individual to try to make a change. But as soon as you get like-hearted minds and people with you, the change just keeps growing and growing and growing. So it's our responsibility to get out there and support those who are trying to make a difference and make a difference ourselves. What are your projects for this year? Are you going to take a crystal to Sweden? Asks a chatter. Yes, I am. Actually, it is time for Sweden soil to receive her crystal. And I was asked to speak at the No Mind Festival, which I will be attending. I will be there speaking for several days. And in the course of figuring out I was going to do the No Mind Festival, it was told to me by my grandfathers, by my elders, that it is time for Sweden. It came through that that's where the next crystal goes. I have this crystal in my care now. It's with me and being kept very safe and sound. And the crystal will be going into the earth there. And so I plan on involving the people in this. I want to involve everyone at the No Mind Festival to come and take part. On the last day of the festival, I will have this sacred crystal with me, and as a group we will go out onto the land and dig a hole, and we will form a sacred circle, a medicine wheel, and I will perform ceremony in which the 4 directions will be honored, the ancestors will be honored, Mother, Father, all of us. Sacred ceremony will be performed, the drums will beat, and together, all of our love and all of our energy, I will place that crystal deep within the earth for the reconnecting, the regrouping, the recharging, the strengthening of our Mother Earth's ley lines, which keep her alive and in turn keep us alive. So yes, the crystal's coming, and so am I. Any other projects? Well, I am a very, very busy woman, as you can imagine. Now that the message needs to be brought to the world, I've become very busy. I will be working on a new video. So many people have seen the videos. Thousands upon thousands of people have seen the old videos now. The one about Return of the Ancestors, the 2010 videos, and people want more. They want more. They want to know what they can do, how they can join the group, how they can become part of the tribe of many colors. And so there's a lot I need to address. And so Very soon we will be recording a new video to put out for the masses. Of course, I will be traveling all over the world, globally speaking, doing events in which I can speak to as many people as possible to get the message out, to teach others how to literally breathe in Mother Earth, how to heal yourself and how to heal others, how to enlighten yourself, how to remember who you are, how to remember you are the strongest of the strong. You are the ones you've been waiting for. We are the answer. We are the answer. And so many events. I will be traveling to Maui next month. I'm on my way to Rhode Island tomorrow. I will be going to the Nordic countries, to Europe. A lot of travel, a lot of events. So this is what I dedicate my life to, is to sharing the message and doing the best I can to do that. Can you say a few departing words for our audience, and perhaps say a few more words about your tribe? Well, I'm first of all just really happy to be here and to be able to speak to you, the audience. Those of you who have hearts and minds that are aligned with mine. You are listening to this message because your greater self has led you to find this message. Nothing happens by accident. So here you are, and you're listening to these words. And that's not an accident. Your spirit, your soul is ready to grow more. You're ready to know that there is more to this planet, there's more to this world, there's more to you than what you've thought. Because your soul is ready to remember who it is. Your spirit is saying to you, I am greater than you thought. You are the creator of your world. What you give your thoughts to, what you give your emotion to, becomes your reality. And knowing this, knowing what you give your thought and mind to and your emotions to becomes your reality, we start creating our reality. We remember that if I sit here and I'm negative and I think of negative things, my world's going to be negative. But the other side tells us we can ask for what we want. Anything we want. Whether it be dollars, whether it be your spiritualness, you ask for what you want. Ask the great everything for what you want. But remember, the key is to remember you have a great I am. You are just a spark that came from the great God and Goddess. And you're here now. Remember who you are. You have a greater self. Tell that greater self what you need, what you want, and do it with as much emotion as possible, because your emotion is your connect to your great I am. If you ask for something without any emotion, it will not come. Your emotion is your great self. And so when you use emotion, when you feel how great it would be to have this thing that you're wanting, then it starts pouring down upon you. Do not be negative. Be very positive. Stay in the positive. What you give your emotion and thought to becomes your reality. You are the creator. You are God and Goddess. You can be the change. This is what we're being asked to do. We're not being asked to go and do. We're being asked to be. Let's be the change. Let's be love. Let's be kind and tender with one another. This is the sacred feminine. This is why the sacred feminine is wounded and needs to be healed, and only we can heal it. Only we can make the difference. Only we can heal our Mother Earth. The feminine needs to be healed. We need to stop living from a place of power and greed and war and killing and rape and disgusting things to our Mother Earth and to the children of men. We need to be tender. We need to be kind. We need to be loving. We need to embrace one another. We want to help one another. Instead of taking care of ourselves, let's take care of ourselves and others. And if we all start doing that, we start supporting one another. We love one another, and our energy grows, our enlightenment will grow, our love will grow, and our planet will change. Let's be the change. And in being the change, you become a part of the tribe of many colors. This tribe of many colors is being asked to start now and to grow globally. To belong to the tribe of many colors means that you see no race, you see no color in others. You just see the heart. We are so different from one another, but we are one another. How ridiculous it is to me that people can love or not love people because of the amount of pigment in their skin. That is so ridiculous. Because of what they believe. Let us respect and honor everyone's beliefs. Everyone is trying to do the best they can. And I honor and love that in each and every one of you. Let us become one tribe, the tribe of many colors from all continents, because we are brothers and sisters. We have one mother, our Mother Earth, our sacred beloved mother. She is your mother and she is mine, and that makes me your sister. I love you. You are my family. Metakwe Oyasin. You are all my relatives. I love you. If you want to be in the tribe of many colors, just love. Just see all of us as children of great God and Goddess. Join the tribe of many colors. Protect your Mother Earth. Love your Mother Earth. And let's love each other and take care of one another. I love you. I love all of you. Thank you so much for having me. And please help spread the message that we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change. We can be the change. And we will change this world. And we're going to help raise very special indigo children, light workers, whatever you want to call them. Let's provide a sacred space for them to be the change as well. Let's gather our hearts and our minds together. And let's be the difference. Aho.